Good morning. A woman in her 80s is the latest victim of Victoria's second wave, bringing the number of people who've died of coronavirus in the state to 39, with 275 new infections recorded in the last 24 hours. Dougal Beattie joins us from Melbourne now. Dougal, students returning to school will have to wear masks.
Yeah, some classes have resumed at schools in Melbourne, Lizzie. All Year 11 and 12 students have gone back to school. There's temperature checks at the gate and face masks are now required. But the remainder of students, about 700,000 of them, well, they're learning from home at this moment. Face masks will become mandatory from midnight Wednesday for those in Metro Melbourne, and they are being required in schools as well. But there are a couple of exceptions. Teachers aren't required to wear masks while in the classroom, but they do have to wear them around the school grounds. 1.2 million single masks will be distributed to schools, the government confirmed this morning. 1.3 reusable masks will be rolled out to schools by early next week. Now, in terms of the latest numbers today, there's been 275 new cases. That's down from 363 yesterday and more than 400 on Friday. There's 147 people in hospital, 31 are in intensive care. Sadly, a woman in her 80s has died in hospital, bringing Victoria's death toll to 39. There are now 2,913 active cases in the state, and the Premier, Daniel Andrews, says this virus is far from contained.
This is a wicked enemy. It is unstable, and until we bring some stability to this, we won't, I don't think, be able to talk about a trend. I'm certainly much happy to be able to report a lower number than a higher one.
Now, there are more concerns as another 2 Victorian schools located outside the restricted areas have closed due to confirmed cases of coronavirus. And there is a growing number of infections outside the city in Geelong. The Premier says he's watching it closely, but there are no plans to extend those restrictions just yet. Lizzie?
Dougal Beattie there in Melbourne, and New South Wales has recorded 20 new coronavirus infections in the last 24 hours. All cases are linked to known sources. Premier Gladys Berejiklian says it's a positive sign, but the next few weeks are critical.
Please make sure, if you've been told to isolate at home, that you spend 14 days at home. Even if your test comes back negative, if you've been told to stay home 14 days, you have to stay home 14 days.
Residents are being encouraged to wear face masks where social distancing is not possible. Well, to Laura Tunstall now, who is in Sydney South, where a courthouse has been shut down after a brush with a positive coronavirus case. Laura, when was this infected person there?
Well, Lizzie, we're told that this infected person visited the courthouse on Wednesday, and that has prompted the closure of Sutherland Local Court today. It has been closed for a forensic clean. There are a number of COVID cases that appear to be popping up in the Shire, which is of concern. Down the road at Gymea, the Hazelhurst Art Gallery has been closed today. There is a potential COVID case that visited the cafe area there on Thursday. There was also some concern for parents at an early childhood centre at Cronulla this morning after they were told that a staff member had tested positive for the virus. Now, that is the Franklin Road Early Childhood Centre, but I am assured by authorities that it is a historical case and that there is no need to close the centre, and there is certainly no risk to any of the children who attend there. Now, meanwhile, a parent of a member of the De La Salle Junior Rugby League Club has also returned a positive test. The club is advising that anybody who has had contact with members of their under-14s teams to self-isolate. We're expecting more details about that case in the coming hours, Lizzie.
Laura Tunstall reporting there. Further south on the New South Wales coast, Caitlin Tukakino joins us from Batemans Bay, where 8 people have tested positive to coronavirus after visiting the same venue on July 13. Caitlin, a pop-up testing clinic has now been set up.
Yes, Lizzie, everyone has rushed down here this morning after New South Wales Health announced late last night that a new 6 people have tested positive to COVID-19 after attending the Batemans Bay Soldiers Club last Monday night. I've actually just been told by people here this morning that they've been turned away for the last hour and a half and told to come back tomorrow. It all comes after a Sydney father father and son who dined at the club last Monday night and were unaware that they were in fact infected attended the Batemans Bay Soldiers Club. It brings the total confirmed cases linked to the club to 8. It includes a staff member, a family of 4, 2 diners and a close relative. New South Wales Health has told us one of those is a local resident. Now, anyone who was at the venue from 7 p.m. on Monday, that's last Monday, or Wednesday through to Friday, should self-isolate and must get tested. Member for Beegate Andrew Constance has weighed in on this and says people need to be taking it seriously.
It's a large retiree population. We've got a lot of elderly people who live in my community, and we just need everybody to isolate. And that's, not a case of just going down to the pub because you feel like a beer or going down to the shops. You've got to go home, stay home.
As we've seen from the Crossroads Hotel, there are now growing fears that this could become the next virus cluster linked to this venue, and anyone and everyone who was there last week on those days, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, should be tested.
Thanks, Caitlin. Well, Queensland has a new coronavirus case with a crewman on board a cargo ship off the Sunshine Coast testing positive. Rob Morrison has the latest.
The Premier has confirmed this morning the man is one of 2 active cases in Queensland right now. He'd been on a bulk carrier, a cargo ship, which had previously docked in Manila before making its way to Australia. The ship's captain reported the man was showing symptoms, so when it arrived off the Queensland coast, health officials boarded the boat. The man was put into isolation on the ship, but with his health deteriorating, doctors have made the call and decided to bring him on shore. He's currently being treated at the Sunshine Coast University Hospital. 9 News understands there is at least 19 other crew on the ship, and some of them are now showing symptoms, but none have returned positive tests at this stage. The ship will remain off the coast of Mooloolaba for now and continue to be monitored.
They are completely secure, so we have absolutely no concerns about that.
Anastasia Palaszczuk is also upping the pressure on New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian to move the Queensland border operation further south to the Tweed River to stop locals being caught up in the massive delays we're seeing there. Today, she will send what she's now calling a detailed submission to her New South Wales counterpart, outlining how that could work. It remains unlikely, though, that the border operation will move further south. Gladys Berejiklian has previously said it's not going to happen.
I'm just trying to make it easier for people, but of course, if the New South Wales government is against it, they're against it. I hope they give it consideration.
Delays on the border are expected to worsen again this afternoon with students returning to class in New South Wales. A number of families in the border community are now trying to work out how they navigate an interstate school pickup.
The countdown is on until Thursday, when we'll learn the future of Jobkeeper and Jobseeker. Live to political reporter Fiona Whelan, who is in Canberra for us this morning. Fee, what do we know so far?
Well, Lizzie, the Treasurer will unveil his mini-budget on Thursday, so this will be the first time that we get a clear look at how the government is planning to extract all of the support measures that it's put in place. Now, on Jobkeeper, we already know that will be extended beyond September, but not for everyone who currently gets it. 9 News understands that businesses will need to take another turnover test to see if they still qualify, and the eligibility requirements will also be tightened. Also, it's no longer expected to be a flat rate of $1,500 per fortnight. Payments could be gradually wound back over time. This was the Treasurer speaking this morning.
And we recognise that while many of the states and the territories are opening up their economy, a quarter of the national economy with Victoria is in lockdown. And this has had the effect of diminishing confidence beyond the Victorian borders, and the jobs market is still very tough, and so the support will continue to be rolled out.
Now, Jobseeker was doubled during the pandemic. It's meant to go back to what it was in September, but it will be politically fraught for the government to do that. This was the Agriculture Minister this morning.
With respect to Jobseeker, obviously we've doubled that from where it was, but we've got to make sure that we don't get a disincentive where it's more lucrative to lie on the couch than it is to work.
Now, the Prime Minister is in Sydney today announcing an extension to a loans program. So the offer is cheap, partly guaranteed loans of up to $1 million for small and medium-sized businesses. But really, Lizzie, this week is all about the countdown to that mini-budget.
Certainly is. Fiona Whelan there in Canberra. Thank you.